Hi, so today I'm going to get horrible screen flare here, but we're talking about Daisies in the Canyon by Carolyn Brown. Now, what is this book about? Well, it's about Abby Malloy. Abby Malloy is a ex-servicewoman. She's young, she's tough as nails. She was brought up by a more than slightly ineffective mother with a complete absent father. However, her father suddenly comes crashing back into his life because he passes away. And it turns out he's got another two daughters out there floating around in the world. And he did own, a ranch. And it is written in his will that all of his daughters, who he's played no part in their lives, should all be invited to this ranch. And if they manage to stay and work on the ranch for a month, they get to inherit it. If they choose to leave, they can take a cash buyout, and the ranch passes on to someone else. Basically, the ranch goes on to a rancher rather than these three women. Now, as you may have expected, it's a romance novel, so just when she's planning to just buckle down and earn her inheritance from this man she's never met and doesn't particularly like very much, in walks the town sheriff, neighbouring rancher, and all-round gorgeousness that is Cooper. Now, this is a very, very typical romance novel. There's nothing kind of extraordinary here that you wouldn't expect to see in a romance novel. People fall in love within the space of a few days. People fall out over minor things. There's all of those things we see so often in romance novels. And I've got to be honest, if you're just looking for a little bit of escapism, if you manage to escape your homes somewhere, and you're just looking for a weekend to sit and chill and read a book that isn't going to be overly taxing, go for it. This is what you want. However, I've got to say I did find this book a little bit frustrating, and here's the reason why. As I said, this book involves her living with these two sisters she's never met, and for me, one of my favourite parts of the book involves the ranch hands and the male romantic leads disappearing for the weekend, and the girls typically experiencing some sort of ranching disaster and having to overcome it. And it's the first time in the book where you really see interplay done well between the women, and you see them start to play off each other, and you see them coming together and bonding. And that, for me, should have been the real story of this book. That should have been what this was about. That should have been the focus of the story of these three women overcoming a difficult past and banding together to make this ranch work. That would have been a phenomenal story. And it's almost as if the romantic side of it, the thing that's kind of the book is pushing as the main storyline, the romantic side of it, it's just like a distraction. It's like, I don't care. I'm reading this book and I'm like, don't care if they get together and they get married. I want to know what happens with her and her sisters. I want to know if they make it work. I want to know, if they overcome the problems of their childhood. I want to see them all getting on and the little arguments and how they take three very different sets of personalities and skills and come together to make this work. That's what I wanted the story to be. And it's like we got this little glimpse of it for like a chapter, and then it was all back to sexy cowboys. So, yeah, if you're looking for an easy read, a bit of escapism, sexy cowboys. a good heroine, she's, I like the lead character in this, she's cool. By all means, read this book. However, be warned, if you like reading personal development stories and seeing complex characters interact, you're going to get frustrated, because I think Carolyn Brown kind of undersold herself in this book. Now, far be it from me to criticise a New York Times best-selling author, but if she'd have written this book about those three women, it would have been outstanding. It would have been a brilliant read. So it's a little frustrating in that respect for me.